What's up, comic book fans? Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, and it's with me, your host, Mike Spider Slayer. That's right, guys. And today we are going to talk about The Walking Dead issue number 114. That's right, guys. Highly anticipated issue here for The Walking Dead. This is a conclusion to this particular story arc because starting in issue 115, we are going to be starting the new story arc that takes place within 12 issues, but in 6 months' time. So it's coming out twice a month, and it's called All Out War. So this kind of leads into that. So this is kind of a big deal. Um, Obviously, our writer here is Robert Kirkman, and our artwork is done by Charlie Adlard, and our gray tones in the book is done by Cliff Rathburn. So, cover here is awesome. It's got Jesus basically kicking some ass. You can see he's kind of taking on the saviors here, Negan's people. That's what their group is called. The artwork in the book has always been fairly consistent. The only major change that I see here is the change from Carl. Carl looks like in the comic he's starting to age a little bit more. Maybe getting longer hair to cover that eyeball that's covered up. He's getting a little bit more lengthy, a little more taller. So it looks like Carl's starting to grow up here in this Walking Dead series here. Um, so the artwork, of course, was consistent. So what did I think of the story? The story was pretty solid, had a lot of action. You read the book within 5 minutes. You know what? You're pretty much done. That's what it was. But it was very entertaining. The book opens up and Rick is on his knees and he's basically crying and he's all upset and he's like, "Just get on with it. Just kill me, please." And and then some other person is like, "Oh, please don't kill me, don't kill me." And Negan says his real wise ass cracks and shit like that. And the one thing that you got to saw at the end of the last issue is you got to see someone falling from a watchtower, and Andrea was the sniper, and she was fighting off a savior. And what we see in this issue, or in the last issue, is a body falling off that tower. You, as Rick doesn't know. He doesn't know if it's Andrea or if it's a savior, and he's just assuming that it was Andrea. But he obviously finds out in this issue that it's not actually Andrea, but he doesn't know that at this point. So as Negan is in control at this point, you can see him here. He's saying all his shit, and he's just about to kill somebody, just like how he killed Glenn. He had everyone on his knees, and he starts saying the words. He starts saying, "Well, let's do this song, shall we? Everyone just sing along." And he's like, "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo." And then here in the trenches here, you can see Jesus is waiting for that opportunity. And he grabs one of the saviors, one of Negan's men, the saviors, and he falls in the trench, and freaking Negan's always cursing. He's like, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" He's like freaking out, you know. And all of a sudden, here comes Jesus out of the trenches, and he tells everyone, "Get in the trenches." And he starts kicking some butt. I mean, this guy is a badass. He sits there and cranks someone right in the freaking jaw, and Negan goes to swing at him, and he freaking takes the Negan's bat, Lucille, and he winds up shoving it right in his face, and he winds up holding Negan basically hostage here. That was awesome to see in the issue, and you're like, "Oh my god, that is pretty badass right there." And then Ezekiel's men winds up coming in at the end of it all too, right after Jesus, and you get the tiger coming in, which is her name is Shiva, and she starts biting some of the Savior's guys also, and you're just like, "Oh man, this is just all breaking loose in this whole thing." And the tiger just starts eating and destroying all kinds of stuff, and Ezekiel's like, "Cut him down." And the next thing we see is that Negan somehow gets away, gets in the truck, and they start driving away, and we find out that he gets away, and Rick finds Andrea finally. He finally finds Andrea and realizes that it's okay. And at the end of it all, there's some dialogue between Rick and his father that you have to talk about. Rick and Jesus that you're going to have to see how Jesus is saying that Rick is a true leader. He sees a vision in the world and how it should be. And at the end of the issue, you see Negan with his men, and he's just basically not going to have it anymore. And at the end of this issue, he says one of the most classic things that had me laughing for almost 3 minutes straight. So this is what he says. He sits there, and he's just this character out here that just says shit that's on top of his mind, and you're just like, oh my god, where is this guy coming from? So this is what he says. He's talking to his guys here, and he goes, we're the big swinging dick of this world. Have been for a long fucking time. But it seems people are forgetting that. He goes, so now our big swinging dick is going to swing harder and faster until we take off like a motherfucking helicopter and we blow all these motherfuckers away. And his people are just like, they're just like this. They're like, what? They're like, what is he talking about? And you can see the frustration in Negan's face, and he's like, oh. He's like, we're going to war. And that's basically how the issue ends. I left a lot of dialogue in here that I didn't talk about that you guys should really read about because it has to do with really the in-depth part of the story. What I showed you is basically how, these people are finally going to war. And how this real war really starts, I'm not sure, but this is the lead-in book to it. This book was fun. It had lots of action, had great humor at the end. Negan, you finally felt for the first time in the actual issue, you felt that he was actually under some kind of stress or duress, like he was might actually die at this particular moment. But that did not happen in this issue. And in the beginning, you get to feel like, oh my God, is someone going to die from Rick's group too? But that didn't happen. So I think they're kind of holding off until this all-out war for the big things to happen. It's supposedly going to be really big. There's like 9 covers altogether that make one big cover that show past events that happened in the series. So this is going to be a big event here. I love Negan. He's a great villain, one of the best villains out there right now in comics. And if he dies, or when he dies, it's going to be sad to see him go because he's a very memorable character. Jesus is another one of those characters too who's really great. I thought at first maybe he was a traitor or a spy, but he's truly not. He's very loyal to Rick here. And another thing is if Rick was to die, I could see Jesus being a leader here. Jesus has taken that spot as being the man, the go-to guy, that Daryl-like guy from the actual TV show. So this was a great read. I truly enjoyed it here. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. This is really awesome. I felt like maybe this storyline has been dragged on a little bit, but it's all leading up into this thing. So I'm going to give this book a 4 out of 5. So guys, tell me your thoughts of this issue in the comments below. Are you excited about All Out War? Are you going to buy all these covers? Again, tell me in the comments below. And guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. And until the next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer saying thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye.